amulet, a sacred comment, and a blessing for the space. And I never thought it would be open. I never thought that anything like this would happen.
So about 20 years ago, I met my husband, and he moved to Los Angeles and was looking for an art space. Found a space that was available that was being rented by a woman named Linda Levy, and for 20 years he's been in this space as a renter. About 2 years ago, we bought the space. Last week, we opened up the walls to do a renovation, and John called me yesterday and said, you have to come down, you have to see this. And there underneath all of the plaster was Bria's name, and he was like, could it be a coincidence? Could that actually be the Bria that we know? And then I looked over here and I saw Dale and Amy, and I couldn't believe it, that all these years we've been in your space. Amazing. It really is your space, so it's quite magical.
This was an alternative space, you see. You have to remember that the LACWA group, Los Angeles Council for Women in the Arts, started in 1968. And that came out of a whole process of conscious raising groups, which began to really be very active. That was a moment where the women got together, sometimes 8 or 10 women, and they would meet once a month and discuss either their art, their needs, or the issues of the day. Among those artists, there were lots of very important artists that are notable today: Uchita, Via Selmans, Hen McCoy. It was an exciting moment for us because when we opened the place, we had 1,200 women who joined Women's Space. And we started with 5 and had a meeting with 72, and then when we opened it, it was like amazing. So word of mouth really was the one that really brought about a lot of interest. Here was really kind of cutting our teeth in something very new. Fran Raboff and her husband owned this space, and it was a laundromat. And they gave it to us. They said, you can have it. And so that's what it was so fantastic, because we didn't pay anything, there was no monthly rent, but it was really a gift that was amazing at that moment.
What was it like to set up the space? Because I remember the scaffolding and laying the drywall. What was that like, and why did you do it yourselves?
Why did we do it ourselves? Because we had no money. And I mean, the gift of the space was really quite amazing, but there was no real money that supported us in doing this. The first exhibition here in this room was a very important one. It was the inaugural exhibition, and 3,000 people were standing outside this door. And they were all waiting to come in and see what's going on here. I think that in some way we really began to change the language of the arts at the time, where the personal became a political comment. And this is really was the contribution, as far as I'm concerned, of women artists to the art language. Even though the art world did not really run to accept it, this was our intent. Well, we had a group which you could call a board. This board met more often, maybe once in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, because this was really a hotbed of activity here, and we created a program. Among the programs that we created was the Pioneer Women. And the Pioneer Women were people like Anais Nin, Bella Lewitsky and Joan Wayne. And there were hundreds of people, hundreds of women and men who came to listen to them because there was no other platform that did that. We created an opportunity for artists who just to come, put their name on a board, and create an exhibition for themselves. It was open call or open wall, and that was a very exciting thing too. There were no critics. There were nobody saying what you should put there, and they would just have to wait for their name to come up, and that's it.
How often was the programming? About a different show every month, you said? And different themes?
I think we did. We tried, because what we did is really address the issue of the need. Gay women, for example, were not shown at all, and it was something that we wanted to have immediately. And I think they had a show here, the first show, after the first exhibition here. Then we had the Black women involved. And the thing I remember the most about that they would do certain things like create a party or invite other speakers or create an opportunity for more interaction.
We feel really privileged to have this space, and we're trying to figure out right now what we might do to honor this as, you know, maybe, I guess, could you call this the beginning of the women's art movement in Los Angeles? Is this like
In terms of claiming space.
yeah.